Hello, this is Mrs. Mills, your instructor for English 111, and I wanted to take some time to talk about the narrative essay in this module. So, that's what you're doing. You're going to write a narrative, which is a story, okay? So, to start off, please make sure you look at your assignment calendar. All right. This week is really busy. It looks like the last module, the last week. You have a quiz and a planning assignment to start off the module. All right. This module, you have a grammar quiz. You didn't have one last time, but we need to keep the grammar going, so you do have a grammar quiz, so make sure you follow those directions. You have your peer review forum. You're going to critique and, go over one another's rough draft material. You're going to respond to that forum, and then you're going to turn in the narrative essay. All right, so I'm going to talk about the narrative essay for a little bit. Now, again, please get the narrative essay rubric from Moodle and read all of its components on there. The essay looks the same as the last one, except for there's some items that we need to talk about with narrative writing. All right, so please follow that rubric and look back at your previous writing assignments for any mistakes that you did on the first one to mend those. All right. So the graphic organizer of choice is going to be a flow map. All right, so let me show you that one. And this is in your planning assignment. Okay, this is the narrative essay flow map, and you're going to construct one of these and turn it in. You can use Microsoft Word, or you can handwrite this and scan it as a PDF, okay? So we're using a flow map for narration because it's going to sequence out the main events of your story, okay? So you're going to draw boxes, and you're going to put an arrow after each box, and that's going to show chronological time order. Now, if you do have a flashback in your story, make sure that you note that, but each box is going to contain a main event. You're going to write each main event in here in the order as it appears in your narrative. And then under each box, you're going to elaborate on each main event. Okay, so main event, and then go into specific detail. Okay, what happened next in your story? Be real specific with detail. What happened next in your story? Be really specific on your detail. So you are outlining the main events, and then you are elaborating upon them under each box, okay? Of course, you can do more than 3. I was running out of board space. And of course, you can do more than 4 main events, all right? When you brainstorm, again, just crummy rough draft, anything that comes to your head, write it down, write down all the main events. And if you have like 10 or 15 main events, or even 6 or 7, you might want to look at condensing that, okay? What are the ultimate main events that happen, and then if you need to, reorganize your flow map with the specific elaboration, okay? So make sure that you construct a flow map, all right? A couple of things about the narrative. This narrative could be a personal experience, so it could be true. All right, it could be nonfiction, could be absolutely true, it happened to you, and it was a significant event in your life. Or the narrative piece could be fictitious, it could be totally made up. So if you like to do creative writing and write stories, then this is the piece for you. All right, it can be totally made up, fiction or nonfiction, that's no problem, okay? Please be sure to check the no list so you're not, writing on those overdone topics. If you have a topic question, let me know. Also, there's suggestive essay topics at the back of the narration chapter in your textbook. All right. There are a couple things that are needed for this essay. The 2 main items that you need within the narrative are conflict and dialogue. Okay? Remember, you can't have a narrative without conflict. All right, remember, conflict is a problem, and it's aimed to be resolved in a TV show, a movie, a book, a short story, whatever. In your case, please go ahead and resolve your conflict. So make sure there is a resolution, an ending to your short story. All right? And think about it. Think about your favorite TV show or your favorite movie, even reality shows. They have lots of conflict. Narrative essays are not interesting without conflict. All right? There's always a man versus something. All right? I'm sure you've heard this before. There's different types of conflict. There's man versus man versus nature, and man versus self. All right? Man versus man is where another being or another entity comes into the picture and kind of disrupts the situation and causes conflict. Harry Potter versus Voldemort. Okay? Voldemort comes in and kind of wreaks havoc, and it's Harry Potter's job to get rid of him. So there's the conflict within that series. Man versus nature, if you've ever heard of the movie The Perfect Storm, it's man versus a hurricane. And in that case, spoiler alert, nature wins. There's also man versus self, which is where the main character or a character of a piece struggles within his or herself to resolve, a problem within his or her brain. Like think of it like a decision. Okay, in the book Tuck Everlasting is about a family that's immortal. They cannot die. And it's not a vampire thing or anything like that. If you're interested, of course, Google it. But one of the main characters makes friends with a mortal girl. Her name's Winnie. And then the main character asks Winnie, would you like to live forever with us? And she struggles with this decision. Does she live a normal life? Or does she go with this family, become immortal, and never ever die? So that is a conflict within herself. She has to make a very important decision, all right? So your narrative has to have conflict. It has to have a problem, all right? And again, there's no interesting narratives without a problem, if you think about it. So you also have to have dialogue in your narrative, which is characters speaking. You got to make sure you use quotation marks, and you have to make sure that you break paragraphs for each speaker, okay? So new speech needs a new paragraph. So if you have two characters speaking to one another, you can't put all that speech in one paragraph. It gets really, really confusing. So please make sure that you break paragraphs when multiple speakers are speaking. I've provided you an example within Moodle. So again, please break paragraphs for characters' speech when they're talking back and forth. Okay? Also, if you want a character to think about something like I thought, thoughts go in quotation marks as well. So please use the grammar correctly, and if you need to, visit the Academic Skills Center. Okay? Again, please make this narrative interesting, make it suspenseful, make it good, and remember, make it class appropriate. So please make it interesting for the reader and include conflict and dialogue. And the conflict that I mentioned before, the man versus nature, the man versus self, again, you can Google that. If I was speaking too fast, there's different types of conflict. You can have more than one type of conflict, so you don't necessarily have to have man versus man alone. I mean, you can have man versus self, man versus man. So you can have a character pondering upon a situation and having to make an important decision, okay? Again, please follow the rubric. It's very, very important. The page limit is 3 to 4 pages, of course. I'm going to limit this essay to no more than 5 pages because I know narratives can get a little bit long and you can get carried away with your really awesome story, but no more than 5 pages. Please put a cap on it. Okay, I can't read a 10-page narrative, although I'd love to. I just don't have time. So conflict resolution, dialogue, and limit yourself to 5 pages. Okay, again, please read the indicated pieces in the textbook. They're great examples of narratives. And if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, you guys have a great day, and I can't wait to read your short stories. Thanks.